of July this year, I became an Airbnb host. And little did I know that when my listing went live on that day, that I was jumping into a social movement of such huge global proportions that right underneath our feet, we're watching a whole economic and social shift happening between the way business is done and the trust people have of each other and the way the internet is making all of this possible. Now, this is all, what this is all called, there's several ways to talk about it. One is called the sharing economy. It's also called collaborative consumption. And it's also called peer-to-peer economy. I like the word collaborative consumption because it really gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling that we're all kind of working in this together. Anyhow, what it really is basically is that people are sharing stuff that they already have. More people are using stuff that's already here versus continuing to exploit more and make more and produce more and blah, 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 stuff that we don't really need because we have $80 million worth of a power tool in every American garage, which gets used on an average of 12 to 13 minutes in its lifetime. Which makes it kind of silly to think, why own one when all I want is the whole? So this is a movement that's starting down on the individual level. And the reason that this is possible is because technology has reached a point where the speed of the internet and the proliferation, how many, the saturation of it out there is such that it's just a real fertile bedrock for these little internet marketplaces to start acting as mediaries between people who have things and people who need things. And the reason that it's happening now is also because people have acquired a sense of trust using the internet in the last decade. We've become comfortable using the internet to do a lot of transactions that are very personal. And so because of this, it's very natural that they could start moving in this kind of a business, which is not based on ownership and assets, but it's based more on reputation. So, and the trust that we're seeing out here, okay, I'm an Airbnb host, so ever since that happened, I've had, I can't even tell you how many, about 75% of them visitors from Europe. It's all working just great. But the thing is that the reason I've been able to trust them is because there's the infrastructure has been built by a lot of social networking. Now, Facebook is funny here because it is a bad guy who's turned all of a sudden into a good guy. Because Facebook, we all know, is a handy thing for connecting people. Very effective, visual, everything. And it also is responsible for estranging people from each other. And it's responsible for our youth being way too comfortable playing with their proxy Facebook friends as opposed to playing with their real friends in the physical world. But now, what's interesting is that Facebook has become an integral part of the collaborative consumption system of doing business because it's the oldest and most universally used form of verifiable digital ID. And it says a lot, and that is what you're going to be using. Consider it social currency. And it's going to, your reputation will become as valuable as your credit report someday. Now, the reason that this is getting very popular too is because of how less wasteful it is, and how environmentally not only friendly, but it's kind of reversing the trend that we're seeing of using too much. We're actually reversing it by using what's here, which stop it. So a couple good examples are in the UK. Someone had some backyard, and there was a grower that wanted to grow his own food. The two got into an internet marketplace called Landshare. They got connected, and before you knew it, there's 17,000 households in this little town. They're all growing their own food together. Isn't that wonderful? And it's a social It's this huge social benefit, too. Now, this is my favorite part, the productivity, the potential here. We have so many unemployed young people right now that are becoming even more unemployable the longer they stay unemployed. And this is something that every single one of them who's able-bodied and willing can become a micro-entrepreneur. For a start, all you need is a car. You could just, and if you don't have a car, you could rent a car so that you can be a driver at Uber and drive people around, and then they take the car back and it all works and you're making some money. And you can be very creative here, and this is where you're going to rise to the top of your competition, is by being creative and setting out something unique for them. In my case, these are the way I'm decorating the curtains in my house. And they're right next to lace, you know, this beautiful Queen's lace. Anyhow, the name of my listing is Whimsical Elegance, Private Room. And what I intend to do is just continue making it look like a clown. So people are going to think, you've really got to check out Santa Barbara, because in 1 year, there will be 3 times as many private rooms available on Airbnb as there are now. I bet a paycheck on that. So, the most exciting thing, despite all the regulatory challenges ahead, which are going to be very exciting to see fought in court as we see right now, it's in our own city council, is the cities that are going to be built. They're going to be built around this new system of doing business, this new system of interacting with people. I mean, it'll just be an economic, cultural boom. Pretty exciting stuff. Thank you.
Exciting stuff. Thank you. So we'll now take a couple minutes to give Nina some notes. Hopefully you've got one of these law slips right here. If you don't, let me know and I'll get you one. And I've got pens as well if you have pens.